everyone, welcome back. So I thought today I would do a little bit of a video for Memorial Day weekend coming up. Well, actually it currently is. But Monday is, at least for the States, it's Memorial Day. And I could do a bunch of actual good history books, but I thought I would do something a little different and go the fantasy route and focus on some military fantasy books. I thought that might be kind of fun, something a little different. Problem is, it's a little hard to find actual, strict fantasy military books. I don't know why that was actually a little bit of a challenge for me, but it was. But the number one that usually comes to mind for me when it comes to military fantasy would be Promise of Blood. This is a great trilogy. The Powder Mage trilogy. I read it a long time ago, so I actually don't have any real current reviews of it. I've been trying to do really well on writing my reviews thoroughly, so when I do videos like this, I can give you a thorough review. Problem is, I didn't do that with these, so I need to reread them, let's just say that. But I will tell you, I did really enjoy them. I loved it. It's such a fun trilogy. They're great. Each one, this is, that's the third book. This is the second book, Crimson Campaign. But all of these are great, just pretty much strict military fantasy. There is some magic involved too. It's great. I loved it. And then the last one, Autumn Republic, whole trilogy is really good. But it starts off with a coup where the king has been overthrown. And so you're following the general that overthrew them all, and it's a pretty bloody beginning, and the other nations just start attacking. So it's just constant fighting going on. And I wish I could give you more of a thorough review, but like I said, it's been a while, but I do know I did enjoy it. I do highly recommend it, and I do know it's perfect for this category. So I'll definitely be wanting to reread this soon because I really did enjoy it. And I've seen a lot of other people come out with some great reviews on it too. There is also a little bit of a series after the timeline of this. I haven't read that one yet, mainly because it followed some characters that I just really didn't care about. I really like the main character in this one. I thought he was really cool. But yeah, so I didn't really care about the side characters as much, and because I knew the following series followed those people, I'm like, I'm not really interested. So I didn't continue. But I've heard those are good too. So if you do enjoy that world and all the characters, then there's more than just the 3 books to read. Okay, so going on to number 2, Guns of the Dawn. I recently read this book. I really enjoyed it. This is another great military fantasy book. There is a little bit of magic. Don't really think it's necessary and doesn't really add anything to the story at all. But it's mainly just strict fighting between these two countries right next to each other. It's just real aggressive swamp type fighting, and it's brutal at times. And that's pretty much the most of the book is just covering just the battle going on. And the main character, the main character is Emily, and she gets drafted in to fight since all the eligible men fighting have already been drafted. So now they need more people. So they're like, well, now we're going to get the women to fight too. And so she's out there and she does great, and it's really interesting to watch her character growth. It's really well done, especially with her exploration on herself, the war itself, and the ending isn't necessarily what you'd expect. If you're looking for a real patriotic ending, you're probably not going to find that one in this one. But if you're looking for more of the military type fantasy, this is the book. Now, my other 2 that I have, I would arguably say it's not as much fitting the category, but like I said, I had a little bit of a hard time finding some other books. So, and mainly I just wanted an excuse to talk about these books, so I'm going to do it anyways because they're my favorites. So, The Pariah by Anthony Ryan, and also The Martyr and Traitor. These have a lot of fighting in them. and great battle scenes, and they're all different types of battle scenes. I guess what I'm really looking for in this category with the military fantasy is more of the strategy fighting. I understand there's a lot of fantasy books that have big battles in them, such as the new Ryan Cahill series, Stormlight books, or just any of the Sanderson books. There's some big battles happening. A lot of strategy really isn't used for them, arguably. It's mainly magic and just explosive power or something like that. And so I'm really looking for strategy and in the actual military fantasy books. And I feel like this one does a really good job because things are getting planned out. There's sieges, there's actual like front lines, like things are happening in actual military format. So that's mainly, I guess, what I'm looking for in this category to kind of help give you a little bit of a guideline. And I think this trilogy has some really, really great battle scenes. And if you need a reason to read this book, it's just really good. So the main character, he's one of those characters who, I mean, I guess some people might not like it, but kind of has that chosen one feel. He's just good at everything. Alwyn, he's a scribe, he's a fighter, he is kind of a little bit of a historian type person. He picks things up when he's learning. He can tell when people are lying. He kind of does a jack of all trades. Like, he's just really good at everything. And whichever side he's on, that's pretty much the winning side. So you want him on your side. He does. It's like I said, a lot of people probably aren't going to like it just because it's someone who's good at everything. I don't know why that's kind of dying out, but I love it. And I think it's great. And I really like, too, how the book will sometimes jump to more of the future and has it's looking back on the past and retelling that story. So you're getting some time jumps, which I enjoyed it in this book. I thought it was done really well. I like more of the historical perspective on the current events that are occurring in the book. So I enjoyed that. But other than that, I mean, just the fighting scenes are really cool, and I recommend that whole trilogy. And then, last but not least, probably my favorite series. I don't know. I go through this a lot on what my all-time favorite series is, and that changes so much. But like, I have probably a lot of tops. It's like top 1, top 2, but it's really hard to measure them because every book is so different. So it's like, I don't know how to do it. But arguably for me, Grace of Kings, the Dandelion Dynasty, has to be one of my favorites right now. I finished it this year. I love it so much. Oh, I could just recommend this one for days. It's done so, it's just flawless. Okay, well, maybe there's a couple flaws because I got so mad at it sometimes, but that's for different reasons. That's just because the author just wanted to kill me. But no, this is great. I love this. Well, anyways, going through the more of the military fantasy, I would argue Grace of Kings might meet that one, just because, mainly the first book, because there's really a lot of more battle strategy occurring in this first one, especially with Cooney and Mata, and they're kind of the underdogs in this, and so they're pulling out all the stops to be able to fight against the Emperor, and it's done really well. And I like I said, I just kind of wanted an excuse to talk about this one. It's so good. But there's some really great battle scenes. There's a lot of battles in this, especially when you get towards the middle. It's just pretty much constant fighting. You have the rebels fighting, you have Cooney and Mata fighting, you have the Emperor and his army fighting. So you just have a lot going on. But it's really good. And the rest of the series is great as well. So if you haven't picked up this book, just pick it up. It's so good. But yeah, so like I said, it was hard to find books that really fit the category I was looking for. But I thought it might be fun just to, with the weekend coming up, that, maybe give you a couple options if you're looking for some military fantasy. But even so, these are just all 4 great books that I recommend in general. So if you are just looking for a new book, any one of these is great. And I definitely recommend trying them out. But otherwise, thanks for watching.